Thank you, everybody, and welcome to the second regular meeting. The Mayor and Council being held in Borough Hall Monday, March 27, 2023, beginning at 6:32. Missy, could you please read the roll?
Mayor Nunziato.
Here.
Councilman Coakley.
Here.
Councilwoman McGowan.
Present.
Councilwoman Begg Roberson.
Here.
Councilman Guzman. Councilwoman Delroy Cohn.
Here.
Councilwoman Quattrone.
Here.
Thank you. If you're willing and able, could you please stand for the salute to the flag? Missy?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, notice of this meeting was transmitted to the Record and Herald News and filed with the Borough Clerk on December 21st, 2022, and is posted on the bulletin board outside of Borough Hall.
Thank you. Could we do the changes to the proposed agenda?
Yes, on page 3, under Finance, we'll be adding item E, resolution number 101, authorizing assessor and tax appeal counsel to settle municipal appeals within formulated perimeters and to file municipal tax appeals. Also on page 3, under Planning Board, we have resolution number 102, appointing the administrative agent, CGP&H. On page 7, under ordinances, a typo occurred. The proposed amendments to the cannabis ordinance was published for second read, but was misplaced under first read. I believe the administrator is going to provide an update on that.
Yes, Mayor. As I understand it, that there's been some discussions about potentially tabling this ordinance tonight. If that is indeed the governing body's wishes, I make a recommendation that we move it up to now, since I know a lot of people in the room may be here for that, and it's because we have a very robust closed session. Don't want people waiting around longer than they really need to. So if it is the council's intention to take that action, I suggest we move it up now, table it, and we can end that action for the night.
Thank you. I'm going to change a little protocol. Councilman Coakley?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, so I would like to make the motion to table the ordinance. Some things have come to light in the last week, specifically some notions made by the Planning Board, which we would like to address. Again, we are not in a rush to get this done. This is something that I feel personally, as some of my colleagues do, that this is for the betterment of our economic future, but we want to do it the right way and take care of the concerns. For the record, because I know that there is a ton of misinformation flying around on social media, there is not going to be dispensaries on Park Avenue, right? The ordinance, as it is currently written, even with the amendments and adjustments we would like to make, restricts any of the Class 5 or 6 licenses to only properties east of Route 17 North. It is literally, in the current state of the real estate market over there, zero opportunity to open a dispensary in that arena. That arena has been designated our cannabis zone for a better part of a year and a half when we passed and approved Class 1 through 4 licenses. So just in case people are going on or coming here with misinformation, just wanted to clarify that for the community. Happy to listen, as always. I really am adverse to stereotype and stigma-based arguments, but happy to listen to opinion. Again, facts, data, science, this is what I am about. So appreciate everyone's time this evening. Sorry that we have to put it off for another couple of weeks, but we're going to do this the right way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
I made the motion at the front of that.
We'll get back to that. I just wanted to let you speak because the rest of the council have the opportunity to speak as we get toward this point. All right, I'd ask for a motion to the amendment with the changes.
Motion to change the agenda per the directive given.
Thank you, Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan,
Yes.
Councilman Big Roberson,
Yes.
Councilman Delroy Cohn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone.
Yes.
Thank you. And I believe we have no other changes to the agenda, correct? Thank you. Hearing of citizens. Okay, I'm sorry, Bob. We're going to move this ordinance up front, correct? Yes, please. Can we have a motion now to move that forward? Yes, we're moving it right now to table it.
Motion to move the.
Motion by Councilman Coakley, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan,
Yes.
Councilman Big Roberson,
Yes.
Councilman Delroy Cohn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we'll move to the hearing of citizens. The table. Motion to table.
Motion to table the ordinance.
Motion by Council President, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan,
Yes.
Councilman Big Roberson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Delroy Cohn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we'll open it up to the hearing of citizens. Anyone wishing to speak, please step forward to the microphone. Keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, and please state your name and address. Mr. Zora, may I reserve a seat for you going forward, right there?
Good evening, everybody. Adam Zora, 94 Vreeland Avenue. March may actually be National Disabilities Awareness Month, but you wouldn't know it by the council's repeated condemnation of my suggestion to replace the unreliable stair lift inside the Donaldson entrance with a safe, convenient, and state-of-the-art wheelchair lift. These lifts are orders of magnitude superior and more inclusive than the council's plan to force the handicap parked in the Donaldson lot to go around to the north side of the building and to use the long and narrow concrete ditch the council is planning to install to enter the building in the basement of this building. I can't imagine a more stigmatizing impediment to the safety and well-being of the disabled community. And as for the Board of Health's 2023, rushing ahead, 2023 budget request, I'm repeating my request to the council to deny funding for a new part-time investigator and the continued property maintenance and rodent control costs that I believe should be shifted to the borough crews. The health department has made great strides in the last few years. The dramatic reduction in the number of citizen complaints alone from 800 a year to less than 2 per week in 2022 and to 2 a month so far this year simply don't justify the need to fund these line items any longer. Furthermore, the borough has a public health contract with the county that shields the health department from any future unfunded state mandates. So there's really no reason to have anticipated protection. The council's duty to eliminate these unwarranted and unnecessary expenditures are clearly stated in the statute, in both statute and in Grosso versus Patterson. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Zora. And I promise we will not hold the walk-up as part of your 5 minutes.
Hi, David LaBruno, 423 Stuyvesant Avenue. I just want to make a comment about the parklet ordinance. I know you're adding an additional fee on here. To me, it seems that a $300 fee per month for a parklet seems like not too much. This past year, we had a few establishments that utilized it, and some of them, they're able to get additional spaces on the side if they ask the neighbor, right? I think even according to this ordinance. But $300 a month doesn't seem like too much to double the size of some restaurants in town, double their square footage, double their amount of spaces that they have inside. It seems like that's a great benefit to that establishment. And the idea of the parking in the town was to service the rest of the establishments in the community. So with the detriment to them, I understand the positive, and I agree with, maybe they could have it on a sidewalk, but while you're cutting back the parking, it's certainly a detriment to the rest of the establishments that are nearby. And so I think you should reconsider that fee also, so that these benefits don't go to a limited few, but flow to the rest of the downtown and the community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'm going to close it to the public and now open it up for any council comment. Anyone? Yeah, I know, Council President. You always got that smile. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your comments this evening. Mr. Zora, first I want to thank you for acknowledging Disabilities Awareness Month. And regardless of how we get to repeat it and remind residents, whatever the rationale is for that reminder, I'm always appreciative of, so I will start with a thank you. Respectfully, as I shared in the last meeting and spoke with you thereafter, I don't agree with your assessment specific to making this building more accessible and utilizing the chairlift as a better option. I believe I shared with you, and if they were here this evening, and sadly I'm thinking of one of our former residents who is no longer with us and has passed on. Over the last year, the last 2 years, we have had the challenges of folks that are wheelchair bound who are stuck on that chairlift, and it's not safe. And its time has moved on. And the fact that we are making a commitment to a permanent structure, I believe wholeheartedly, is our commitment as a community to anyone with a disability or a unique ability, or even just needing the extra assurance of not having to walk the stairs because they don't feel safe to do so. And if the goal is to make this building open and accessible and welcoming, then I think we have a fiduciary, moral, and more importantly, an ethical responsibility to do so. And so I want to thank the borough administrator who has been working on this for several years in not just rushing this process and not just putting a Band-Aid, but really addressing the critical need to make sure that every resident can feel assured they have access to all of the services. And I appreciate that you're playing the violin for me in the back, and I say that for the residents who don't get the ability to see what I see when we're having this conversation, Mr. Zora. But I want you to know, I don't think it's a joke, nor do I find it humorous to talk about the plight of residents and their ability to access what anybody, any able-bodied person is able to access. And so I will respectfully say thank you for your comments, although I wholeheartedly disagree. And I will defer to the borough administrator if he would like to address the parklet.
Sure. So the The fee tonight that's on the agenda is not specific to the monthly. The fee tonight that's being proposed is each parklet has those concrete barriers set aside. And our DPW has been the ones that have been installing them and then removing them each year. We find it reasonable to charge any of the businesses for our labor, for our service, to install those barriers and remove them each year. We've been storing them on borough property for the property owners. Therefore, we put that ordinance together today, seeking a $400 per year fee to cover the costs of our labor and storage fees. Mr. LeBruno, you mentioned the monthly cost. Obviously, I do see your point, and I can't disagree with you. But when we put fees together, we are charged to try and identify our costs that are involved in providing a service. And in this case, the meters, we feel on average, revenue lost each month equate somewhere around $300. That's where that number comes from. If we increase the parking meter rates, I can increase that rate at some point, but right now we're at a number that we can legally justify.
Councilwoman?
I was going to ask Bob to expand on the parking issue, so that's.
No problem. Anybody on this side? Seeing none, I was going to address that, Mr. Zora, but Bob did put this together, and we worked on it as we all consulted. And yes, we want them to succeed. We want more people to come to Rutherford, but we also don't want us to suffer a cost associated with that, and I appreciate your work on this one, Bob. Mr. LeBruno, I truly appreciate you coming up tonight. Honestly, we all know we're running against each other, but the way you handle it with your professionalism, I hope we stay that way, and I thank you for that. I think we covered your questions on top of that. Mr. Zora, the only other thing I'll add is, did Kim set up that meeting with you and Brian and Tindola yet? I know Brian was away. I'll take care of that, yeah. I'll have Bob take care of that. Brian was away, so. Other than that, I have nothing to add, so we'll move on. We're going to move on to closed session now. I'd ask for a motion to go into closed.
Motion.
Motion by Council President, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Roberson. Questions, comments? Seeing none, we're going to move into closed.
Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act requires that a public body adopt a resolution at an open meeting before going into a closed session to discuss a matter which excludes the public as permitted under Section 7B. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council will hold a closed meeting at 6:50 p.m. on March 27, 2023 in Borough Hall to discuss the following matters: contract negotiation, fair share redevelopment, Agnew Place, contract negotiation, redevelopment agreement with Williams Center, pending litigation, McInnes versus Rutherford, contract negotiation, shared service agreement with East Rutherford.
Thank you, Missy. Again?
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Beg Roberson?
Yes?
Councilman Deborah Cohn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cottrone?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. We're back in open session at 9:03. I'm waiting for Council President. Roll call.
Mayor Nunziato,
Here.
Councilman Coakley,
Here.
Councilwoman McGowan,
Present.
Councilman Beg Roberson,
Here?
Councilwoman Delroy Cohn,
Here.
Councilwoman Quattrone.
Here.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on. President McGowan?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to move the regular meeting minutes of March 13th. Motion.
Motion by Council President, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Roberson. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan,
Yes.
Councilman Beg Roberson,
Yes.
Councilman Delroy Cohn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to move the closed session meeting minutes of March 13th. Motion.
Motion by Council President, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan, Councilwoman Beg Roberson,
Yes.
Councilman Delroy Cohn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion by Council President, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Roberson. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan, Councilwoman Beg Roberson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Delroy Cohn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone.
Yes.
Thank you. Council President? Motion by Council President, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by, all right, Councilwoman Quattrone. You know what, can I just start doing Councilwoman and Councilman because I'm getting a little confused.
Councilman Coakley,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan,
Yes.
Councilman Beg Roberson,
Yes.
Councilman Delroy Cohn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone.
Yes.
Thank you. It's just easier to listen and I can tell a female voice from a male voice.
You could use our names.
Okay, no problem. Moving on. Did we add E10? I was just confirming that we added E10. Okay, Councilwoman, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. First is the ordinance on first reading. This ordinance is to exceed the municipal budget and establish a cap bank. Missy, can you read this ordinance by title only?
For calendar year 2023, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to move the ordinance be passed on first reading and advertised according to law.
Motion by Council President, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Quattrone. Any questions or comments by the council? Yes, Council President.
Mayor, just for clarification, this is a requirement for us to pass before we introduce our budget this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Coakley,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Beg Roberson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Delroy Cohn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next is Resolution Number 95, the introducing the calendar year 2023 municipal budget.
I have a motion by the Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Roberson. Any questions or comments by the council? Council President.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't steal our borough administrator's thunder for his extraordinary work, he and our CFO, which we are so incredibly grateful for. Colleagues, tonight, we are introducing the 2023 budget. These are extraordinary times As every one of you know, because you participated in budget meetings, because you've been working so closely with our borough administrator and our CFO, you are aware that we were addressing the challenge of a pension increase of over $750,000, which is about 29% alone, year over year, and that would increase our tax rate significantly. We were addressed with dealing the workman's compensation liability insurance increase of over $100,000, which is about 7.5%. We've watched the nation go through this, and this borough is no different. The gasoline increase of over $85,000, which comes out to about 23%. Many towns across New Jersey and the country are experiencing significant increases in private garbage collection costs, resulting in the state of creating cap exceptions for this item, which historically has not been done in the past, and yet because of the way our infrastructure has been set up and our commitment to having an automated system and quite frankly, the very good work of our DPW and our superintendent, this borough, is not facing that challenge this year. In addition to the average increase of our union contracts, we are able to hold an effective tax increase of 1.6%. I am the first, as many of you know, sitting up here, to never want to say that there is an increase. I cannot tell you the work that has gone into addressing and looking at literally every single aspect of our municipal expenditures to ensure that we did not cast a shadow, an unforeseen shadow at that, financially to the residents of this borough. I would be remiss before we go forward in addressing this, and I turn this over to my esteemed colleague, who is the Borough Administrator, Bob Kekulowski. I would be remiss as the finance liaison and my council colleague, Ray Guzman, who is unable to be here tonight for this moment. The extraordinary work. We asked for challenge, we challenged many areas of this budget, and Bob, you and Gordon stepped up, you were creative, you ensured that we didn't cut services to the residents. We found ways to make sure that we had the workforces that we need, and somehow are addressing these gigantic unforeseen expenditures. And I, for one, want to thank you publicly on behalf of myself as a resident, as the council president, on behalf of this governing body, and most importantly, all of the residents of Rutherford for your due diligence and your incredibly hard work. Mayor, I'm going with your privilege to give Bob a few moments if he'd like to address this budget.
Council President, thank you very much for your kind words. This has been a challenging budget, probably my most challenging since I came here in 2018. Primarily, the bills have come due from the pandemic, and a few other issues that have hit the table for us. So I do want to thank our CFO, Gordon Stelter. I definitely want to thank all the department heads that we have here in Rutherford. They are tremendous leaders, tremendous assets to the borough. And when I came asking, they were able to help us get to where we are tonight. I'm not going to delve too much into the numbers right now. The plan is at the April 17th meeting, I will present a budget presentation to the governing body and to the public, so that we can go over a little bit more details about our revenues and our appropriations and our plans for capital dollars, and just to kind of explain where we're at, show you kind of projected tax rates and everything. So I'll reserve some of my more detailed comments to that night. Then the other part of the plan is on May 2nd. At that meeting, we'll have a public hearing. The public have their opportunity to comment on the budget. And assuming everything is well at that point, the governing body will have an opportunity to vote to adopt the municipal budget, and also on that night, the capital ordinance reflecting our capital budget for the year. But this was a tough one. I'm not going to lie to you, and it was we definitely had to get creative. But I believe it is a good plan is in place for this year, and also to secure the financial structure for the borough moving forward over the next few years. And so it's not necessarily a short-term plan. We have a short-term and long-term plan in place to protect us. So, pretty proud of where we got to, but I'll say more, in 3 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the council wishing to speak on the subject?
No, I just want to thank Councilwoman.
Roberson.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank Councilwoman McGowan, Councilman Guzman, who's not here, and our borough administrator. They do such a great job with our budget and working so hard together. So thank you so much for your diligence and hard work. And Gordon, of course, and Gordon, of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilman Coakley.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to echo Councilwoman Beg Roberson's sentiments. I will lead with thanking Gordon first, and then move on. Bob, thank you very much. I know you and I had several conversations for things that were important to my liaison assignments, and I appreciate it. Councilwoman McGowan, kudos and a hat tip to you as well for all of your diligence and attention to detail. And Councilman Guzman, I wish you the best while you're with family, and thank you again for your time and attention.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'll just echo what my council colleague said.
Thank you, Councilman Del Rey Cohen. I would just like to thank Bob, Gordon, because I know that every time Stephanie came in with cups of coffee, they got nervous. But you guys did a great job, Steph. You were incredible. Ray, who couldn't be here tonight as well. I'm sure you're going to get less coffee now, but you guys did a great job. Thank you. We're going to move on to police.
I think we have to do roll call.
I'm sorry, roll call, my bad.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Beg Roberson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Del Rey Cohen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone?
Yes.
Mayor, I'd like to move resolution number 97, authorizing the 2022 appropriation reserves transfer. Motion.
Motion by Council President, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Quattrone. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Beg Roberson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Del Rey Cohen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to move resolution number 100, authorizing the temporary emergency appropriations. Motion.
Motion by Council President, may I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Beg Roberson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Del Rey Cohen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have an addition of resolution number 101, authorizing the assessor and tax appeal council to settle municipal tax appeals within formulated parameters and to file municipal tax appeals on behalf of the borough of Rutherford when necessary. Motion.
I have a motion by the Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Roberson. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Beg Roberson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Del Rey Cohen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone?
Yes.
Mayor, my last resolution for this evening is under my planning board liaison assignment. Resolution number 102 is the resolution appointing the administrative agent CGP&H. Motion.
Motion by Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Quattrone. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Beg Roberson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Del Rey Cohen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone?
Yes.
Mayor, under my liaison assignments, just a gentle reminder that the KIP Center is doing their pocketbook bingo on April 22nd. Please buy tickets. It's a great time, wonderful way to see people in the community. Tickets do sell out in advance, so please do not wait. As always, I want to acknowledge our emergency services, particularly our ambulance corps. And Mayor, it is Women's History Month, and we started this month celebrating International Women's Day, and we tried something different with coffee and bagels out front. And I just wanted to remind young women, future members of this governing body. It was brought to my attention today that when people look around this chamber, they don't see a lot of representation of women. And I just want to say that I have never taken the opportunity to sit in this chair for granted. And I know that everyone up here works very, very hard. And I hope for the young girls and young women and other women of this community who may think about pursuing this, that they know that there's room on these walls for their picture, Mayor. Thank you.
Before we move on, does anybody else have anything to say on that subject? Other than the fact that, our council president, our public information officer also helped me put together the fact that 75% of this borough is female-run, all our department heads, our senior leadership, as well as most of our employees, and I'm very proud of that fact. So we'll move on to Councilman Guzman's agenda. Knowing he's not here, may I have a second?
Mayor, I don't believe we have anything to move for him this evening.
Thank you very much. I'll now move on. Public Works, Councilman Del Rey Cohn.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move resolution number 94 under my Public Works assignment, extending the contract with Bergen County Utilities Authority. Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Del Rey Cohn. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan? Yes. Councilwoman Big Roberson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Deborah Cohn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Quattrone?
Yes.
Thank you. Anything under your other liaison
Yeah,
assignments?
just a couple of things, Mayor. With regards to the Green Team, I just wanted to let the residents know that the Green Team is going to release their applications for anyone that would like to participate in the community garden, which is a wonderful way to share in sustainability in your community. Those fees and applications will be available starting on April 1st. Also, this month, there's a few other Green Team events that we should all make note of. On April 22nd will be the annual Green Team Cleanup Day. That's a really good opportunity to get together with your family and help make the borough a little more beautiful and a little more bright. I know my family and I enjoyed doing some cleanup over at Sunset Park last year. So again, that's on April 22nd. If you wish to participate, you can contact the Green Team, and then we all just gather outside Borough Hall and then disperse throughout the town. Also that day is the Green Team's annual Arbor Day, which is really fun since we're the Borough of Trees, so please mark your calendars for that. With regards to my Civil Rights Commission assignment, just a couple of things. The Civil Rights Commissioners and I had the opportunity to sit with Robin Rienstra over at the Meadowlands Museum. I guess it's just under 2 weeks ago now. For anyone that doesn't know Robin, she is an institution of knowledge in this borough, and her knowledge, particularly of the importance of our Black history and Black residents in Rutherford, is pretty unmatched. She was actually in the room where it happened when the Civil Rights Commission was started, and she is really a brilliant sort of arsenal of information, and she showed us some really important artifacts. So if you or your children have not had the opportunity to go over to the Meadowlands Museum, it's really the most quaint and lovely little space, and Robin is really anxious to educate us. She's also doing regular Zoom programming about various historical facts. I think even this month, every day, she's giving some information about important women in history. So I'd like to thank Robin for spending that time with us. Similarly, yesterday for Women's History Month, I had the opportunity to speak at Mount Ararat Church for their Women's History celebration. I would like to thank the Pate family, particularly Sean Pate, who is the pastor, his wife Terry, who is a minister, as well as their daughter Lola, who did the most beautiful interpretive dance. My husband and I were brought to tears. If you have the opportunity to go on Mount Ararat's Facebook page, you can watch the entire celebration. Pastor Pate gave the most beautiful sermon. Regardless of your religious affiliation, this really is a beautiful community over at Mount Ararat with some of our I use the word elders is a historical number, not a number. Some of our most important elders in the community are members of that church, and I encourage you to go visit them over there. Finally, I just wanted to thank the entire library committee, our library liaison, Susan Quattrone, as well, for her help in the library gala, which was this past weekend. It was a packed house. I think it's the most crowded that's ever been for a really important cause. So I'm appreciative to all of the residents that joined together to support our library. That's it.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Council President?
I'm embarrassed, so I just want to clarify. Thank you for your dates, because it made me realize quickly that, in fact, I gave the wrong information, Mayor. First of all, it's called Designer Bag Bingo, and it's Sunday, April 23rd. So the good news, you can clean Rutherford, you then can celebrate our trees, and then win a designer bag, and there's time for all of that to happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that clarity. Councilman Coakley, can you top that?
I could try. No, nothing to report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Buildings and Grounds, Councilwoman Quattrone.
Thank you. I have nothing under buildings and grounds. For my liaison assignment, I feel like I'm always talking about the library, but that's because they hold so many wonderful events that not only raise money, much needed money, but also raise awareness for how important the library is to our health, our literacy, our equity in our town, and also our communal well-being. Thank you to Councilwoman Del Rey Cohn for mentioning the gala. It was, as she said, a tremendous success. There were at least 250 people in attendance, and it was a true celebration of the enormous support that the library engenders in our community. Senator Paul Sarla was there, and he said it well when he remarked that he has been to many municipal library events in different towns, and he has literally never seen this much support for a public library. So he was very impressed with that, and he was right. So congratulations to the library board and staff for pulling off a truly joyous event. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you for reading the proclamation that evening. Councilwoman Roberson.
Okay, so I have two resolutions. Resolution 98, awarding a contract for the annual volunteer dinner, Dan's Catering Hall, which is another awesome event. Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Roberson. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Quattrone. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, I just want to thank our borough administrator. Fortunately for us, we've been blessed with a really good new Chamber of Commerce, and Dan Meredith's been incredible. The Hilton in East Rutherford is asked to join our Chamber of Commerce, and when Bob went down there with Kim and the Recreation Department to meet with them, they were more than open to being real Rutherford participants of our community, and that's why we awarded them that contract based on the finance formula, and Bob really got us a great deal. So, Bob, I really appreciate that. That's all I have. May I have a roll? No, it was second for I spoke.
Yeah, we're good. We just need roll call.
Yeah, roll call.
Councilman,
No, we got to do a roll call.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Big Roberson?
Yes.
Councilman Delroy Cohen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cutrone?
Yes.
I have Resolution 96, declaring May 20th, 2023 as Rutherford Lacrosse Day. Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Roberson. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments by the council?
I just wanted to say one thing about lacrosse has me thinking that a lot of our seasons are starting for the spring. And since it is Women's History Month, I'm going to make a push for as many residents as possible to go to see the girls play sports. I think it is a really important statement. Our boys have great teams. Our girls do too. I know I'm trying to get myself to more girls' games, even though I have a son. So I just think it's nice to have a critical mass at some of our girls' sporting events, including lacrosse. So.
Thank you, Councilman. Totally agree. Anybody else? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Big Roberson?
Yes.
Councilman Delroy Cohen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cutrone?
Yes.
Okay, as part of my liaison assignments, as the liaison to the Recreation Department, I've been working very closely with Pat Bonner, and something that's really important to him is space for all our sporting activities. Our town has grown tremendously, and we have more sports than when we started. And so I would like to authorize our borough administrator to have one of our professionals conduct a park study and master plan to review and maximize our park facilities and all of the programs that play on our fields. And I'd like to pass it on to the borough administrator to explain that a little more in detail.
Thank you, Councilwoman. So yes, I think that's a great idea. There's the Rutherford sports programs are growing annually, and demand for field space has been quite challenging for our recreation director. So I think the time is right to bring a professional in to take a look at our existing facilities, look at the programs that we support, to make recommendations on better usage of our existing fields before we spend any more taxpayer dollars on, Band-Aid approaches to, what are good ideas at the time, but overall, they're short-term solutions. I think we need to start thinking about long-term. We have Tamblin that is probably a little bit underutilized right now. It's a large space that, if we were going to invest capital dollars in it, that's probably a good place to come up with a better plan. Memorial Field is the crown jewel here. Taking a look at that, and then we have underutilized Walls Field as well. So I think this approach is warranted at this time. We do have funding in place to bring our professional in. The borough architect has a planner on site who recently did the exact same thing at another municipality. So they are very familiar with what needs to be done, and I think engaging that service is the right way to go.
Thank you, and I want to thank you, Bob, for suggesting this option. I think it's the best way to go. So that's it for me, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I'd ask for a motion to support the spending of Bob's taxpayer dollars.
Of the borough's taxpayer dollars.
May I have a motion?
Right? Second.
You're first.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none?
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Big Roberson?
Yes.
Councilman Delroy Cohen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cutrone.
Yes.
All good, Councilwoman? Thank you. I'll move on to mine. I have nothing to report. Liaison assignment, nothing from the Sports and Exposition Authority or Streetscape at this time. Appointments. I'm honored to appoint Deputy Chief permanent status effective March 16, 2023, in accordance with the rules and regulations of the State of New Jersey Civil Service to Sean Farrell. I'd ask for council consent.
Motion.
Motion by Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Quattrone. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan,
Yes.
Councilman Big Robertson,
Yes.
Councilman Delroy Cohen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cutrone.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item I have is summer day camp supervisors. I'll do them one at a time, correct, Missy? All right, summer day camp, Catherine Walsh at $19 per hour, Sandra Maslag at $22 per hour, Jamie Baffuto at $20 per hour. Assistant track and field supervisor, $15 per hour, Scott Bardzell, $15 per hour, Nicholas Groszkowski, $15 per hour, track and field assistants, $12 per hour, Tredell Manhart, Polio, you guys, Polio Mariano, Mary Lai, James Stratasis, and Kara Garlafolo. I'd ask for council consent.
Motion.
Motion by Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments by the council? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan,
Yes.
Councilman Big Robertson,
Yes.
Councilman Delroy Cohen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cutrone.
Yes.
So at this point, the takeaway is that I can't see very well. I need new glasses. We'll move on to ordinances on first read. I'm sorry, hearing of citizens. Anybody wishing to speak on this subject matter and this subject matter only, please step to the microphone and keep your comments at 5 minutes or less, and please state your name and address. Seeing none, anybody from the council wishing to speak? Seeing none, roll call, please. Move on to ordinance. Ordinance on first read. Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, I'd like to introduce on first reading the establishing fees for maintaining parklet barriers. Missy, can you please read the ordinance by title only?
In order to amend Chapter 65 outdoor cafes of the Borough Code of the Borough of Rutherford.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to move that the ordinance be passed on first reading and advertised according to law.
I have a motion by Council President. I'd ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Delray Cohn. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read two things at once. I apologize. May I have a roll call? No, I'm sorry. Is there anybody from the council wishing to speak on this subject and this subject matter only? Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan,
Yes.
Councilman Big Robertson,
Yes.
Councilman Delroy Cohen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cutrone.
Yes.
Thank you. We're going to move on now to ordinance on second read. Recreation?
In order to amend and revise Chapter 110, street closures of the Borough Code of the Borough of Rutherford.
I make a motion to move that the ordinance be passed on second reading and advertised according to law. Motion.
Motion by Councilman Roberson. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. At this time, we will open this up to the public for this subject matter only. Anybody wishing to speak, please step to the microphone and keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Seeing none, I'll close it to the public and now open it up for any council comment. Seeing none, Missy, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Beg Roberson?
Yes?
Councilwoman Deborah Cohen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cutrone?
Yes.
Thank you. Council President?
Thank you, Mayor. On second reading this evening, under Councilman Guzman's agenda. This is to update the towing ordinance fees, practices, and technology advances. Missy, can you please read the ordinance by title only?
In order to amend Chapter 117 towing of the Borough Code of the Borough of Rutherford.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to move that the ordinance be passed on second reading and advertised according to law.
I have a motion by the Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Quattrone. I will now open it to the public for any comments. Please step up to the microphone. Keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Please state your name and address. Seeing none, I'll now close it to the public and now open it up for any council comment. Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Beg Roberson?
Yes.
Councilman Deborah Cohen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cutrone?
Yes.
Thank you. I will now accept the motion to adjourn. Motion by Council President. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a great night, everybody.